Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. On today's show, we're talking about the mental aspects of navigating these uncertain times. I find myself going through all kinds of emotional swings these days. Those who know me well would describe me as someone who's very tempered, pretty unflappable. And over the past several months, I've been asking myself a lot of questions. I'm asking questions like, will there be a shortfall in rental income? And if so, how much? When will we see revenue return to our short-term rentals? Will our current construction projects be impacted by the mandated shutdowns? Will any of my friends or family get sick? Will we experience food shortages? Will we exhaust our financial reserves? What will the market look like when we emerge from this period of social isolation? What will happen to the capital markets? And will people stop investing out of fear? What I've discovered in these questions is that all of these questions have one thing in common. They're rooted in a basic human need to bring certainty to the most fundamental aspects of living. We all crave certainty to some degree. If everything is certain in life, of course, and there's no variety, then things get pretty boring quickly. So we need a little uncertainty, but we want that uncertainty to add a little spice to life. My wife loves to be surprised with a beautiful gift of flowers. That should be uncertain. But in areas that are core to living, like where's my next meal going to come from, we want that to be certain. In fact, we need certainty so badly that some people will do just about anything to create certainty in their life. They will lie to themselves, they'll create a narrative in their own minds that synthesizes a suitable level of certainty. And if certainty isn't there, they'll invent the story that brings an acceptable level of certainty. I've observed the full spectrum of reactions. There are those that want to go to sleep at night in a hazmat suit at one end of the spectrum, and then there are those who are in complete denial and believe that this is all a hoax. Both ends of the spectrum are trying to accomplish the same thing, to bring certainty to an uncertain situation. In reality, nothing has changed. Life is uncertain and always has been. Even those who embrace the thrill of the hunt, those adrenaline junkies out there, they too, at a deeper level, require certainty at the very core. Now, I currently have about 80 days of food in my pantry. I did that to bring some degree of certainty to my life. But if you add a layer of supply chain disruption to our national food supply, it may not be enough. We can tolerate some degree of uncertainty. It's sunny today, and it may rain tomorrow. Knowing that the roof doesn't leak restores the certainty that we need. The thermostat needed to be replaced at my house, and we went from knowing that the pipes would not freeze as long as the heating system was operating to wondering, would the pipes possibly freeze if the temperature drops at night? We went from being certain to uncertain, and fixing the thermostat became a priority, not because we were cold, but because the uncertainty over the pipe freezing. In truth, temperatures in the house never got anywhere near freezing, but I've become sensitized to the extent to which we as humans look to create certainty in our lives, at times above all else, and it's part of being human. My own response to the current COVID-19 pandemic has been to get as much information as possible. Armed with knowledge of what's really happening is my best path to certainty. I believe that I can't really change reality on a large scale. I can control my own expectations, and the closer my own thoughts are aligned with reality, the less stress I will experience. There's a natural human reaction to any bit of new information. The first step might be denial. At the other end of the process is acceptance, and finally action taking. But in between, there's a number of steps which include shock, anger, rationalizing, confusion. Some people get through that process to acceptance quicker than others. In Alberta, there's a Cargill beef processing plant that's been hit hard by COVID-19. In a span of 10 days, the number of infections connected with that one plant has grown from a handful to nearly 400. And reports from some employees who maintained anonymity have included requests from management for workers who tested positive to get back to work only 3 days into a mandatory 14-day quarantine. This one meat processing plant supplies 1/3 of Canada's beef. If the story is correct, this is a management team that clearly is in denial and sadly putting the entire operation and many families at risk. But here too, even if I'm outraged, the decision's being driven by the same need for certainty. I discovered for myself the best path to certainty is to remain grounded in reality, to constantly question my own beliefs and make sure that I'm not engaging in confirmation bias. It's a difficult process at times. Sometimes I catch myself looking at the wrong data simply to make myself feel better. So as you think about that, check in with yourself and how you're managing the uncertainty that's been present in your life all along, whether you recognized it or not. Have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.